the shore before the morning, before the other people and the noise. Just me and all the gray before the color, and the ocean doing what the ocean does. The tide was out and everything was open, a mile of wet sand stretching to the sea. I sat down on a rock and just decided that I had nowhere else I had to be. There's a patience that the ocean teaches, that you cannot rush what's on its way. The tide will come and cover what was empty and pull back and reveal it all again. I'm waiting for the tide, not to change the ocean, just to feel it moving under time. Waiting for the tide to come and fill the spaces that I didn't know were empty until now. Waiting for the tide, the way the shore has always waited, patient and completely unafraid. Waiting for the tide. Dog and nodded. The dog was interested in everything. I watched them disappear around the headland and felt a particular piece of witnessing. A bird stood at the waterline and waited, more still than anything I've managed yet, watching for whatever the water carries with a patience I have not quite mastered yet. I spent so much of living in a hurry, arriving before I've left the last place yet. But here beside the water I remember that some things only come to those who let. I'm waiting for the tide, not to change the ocean, just to feel it moving under time. Waiting for the tide to come and fill the spaces that I didn't know were empty until now. Waiting for the tide, the way the shore is always waiting, patient and completely unafraid. Waiting for the tide. By 9 o'clock the color had arrived, the gray had warmed the gold along the sand, and I was still there on my rock just watching everything that didn't need my hand. The tide began to turn somewhere out past seeing a subtle shift the water somehow knew, and I sat there waiting for it quietly, the way you wait for something long past due. Not with anxiety, not with impatience, not checking if it's coming or it's near, just with the kind of faith the shore is always known without needing it to be made clear. I'm waiting for the tide, not to change the ocean, just to feel it moving under time. Waiting for the tide to come and fill the spaces that I didn't know were empty until now. Waiting for the tide, the way the shore has always waited, patient and completely Caribbean shore. Each wave a little further than the last one, each wave a little closer to the shore. And I sat there watching it approaching, not moving, not preparing, just aware that something I had waited all the morning for was finally completing in the air. And I thought about the things I've been waiting for, the ones I've tried to hurry and to force, and how the tide has never once been anxious about arriving at the shore. There are things in life that have their own timing, that no amount of wanting makes arrive, that need the space of patient, open waiting, the way a seed needs darkness just to thrive. I have been so impatient with my season, so frustrated with the winter of myself. But sitting here I'm learning something older than anything I've ever found on any shelf, that the tide does not apologize for leaving, that it does not rush its way back to the shore. It simply goes and comes as it was made to, and arrives exactly when it did before. So maybe I can give myself that kindness, the same I'd give this ancient stretch of sand, to wait without the weight of all my wanting, and trust that what is coming is in hand. Because the tide has never once forgotten to return to where it came from every time. And maybe what I'm waiting for inside me is just as certain and just as divine. I'm waiting for the tide. I'm waiting for the tide. I'm waiting for the tide. Not to change the ocean, just to feel it moving under tide. Waiting for the tide to come and fill the spaces that I didn't know were empty until now. Waiting for the tide, the way the shore has always waited, patient and completely unafraid. Waiting for the tide, still waiting for. I left on a Thursday with no real plan, just a tank of gas and an open hand. Drove past the town I'd lived in all my years, and didn't look back until the exit disappeared. The radio played something I didn't know. I sang along to words I'd never heard before, and somewhere in that badly sung chorus I felt something loosen in my chest. Didn't know I'd been so tightly wound until the road started unwinding me. Mile by mile, the person I'd been performing started sitting down and just letting me be. Miles between who I was and whoever I'm becoming. Miles between who I was and the woman finding her way home. Not back to a place, but back to herself. Miles between who I was and who I always meant to be. I stopped at a diner in a town called Grace. The waitress had kind eyes and a weathered face. She asked me where I'm headed. I said I don't know. She said, honey, those are the best trips to go on. I ordered pie and sat until the sun went low. She refilled my coffee twice without being asked, and when I finally left she said, safe travels, sweetheart, like she knew exactly what kind of trip this was. Some strangers see you clearer than the people who have known you long enough to have a version of you fixed and filed and certain that has nothing to do with who you're turning. Miles Something about standing under all that sky that makes the things you've worried over shrink. I stood there until I'd lost track of the hour and drove on lighter than I'd stopped to think. I've spent so long making myself smaller to fit inside the spaces others made. But out here there's no ceiling and no edges, just me and all the room I'd been afraid. Miles between who I was and whoever I'm becoming. Miles between who I was and the woman finding her way home. Not back to a place, but back to herself. Miles between who I was and who I always meant to be. So I drove until the driving felt like something not running from but running toward a thing, toward the version of myself that had been waiting, patient as a field in early spring. And maybe I'll go home and maybe I won't. Maybe home is something I rebuild, but I'll build it out of what I found out here on the miles between who I was and who I will love. Between who I was, left on a Thursday. Miles between who I was, the diner called Grace. She refilled my coffee twice. Who I was, miles between who I was, standing under all that sky, smaller and larger at once. Miles between who I was, frost on the window, credit card to scrape it off. Miles between who I was, talking to myself out loud, finding my own answers. Miles between down and just letting me be. Miles between who I was and whoever I'm becoming. Miles between who I was and the woman finding her way home. Not back to a place, but back to herself. Miles between who I was and who I always meant to be, still becoming. Miles between who I was and who I will be. I left on a Thursday,